concepts and constructs. When we have a scenario where we've observed a condition, so for this example, for chapter 1, our condition has been observed is that female sales representatives have lower customer defections than the male representatives. So in order to understand that, do some research and extract some valuable business information from that observation, we need to break it down and look at a construct and a concept, and then look at how we can research that. So a construct for this scenario, condition that's been observed, could be female representatives build better customer relations than male representatives. And the concept that would go with that is customers are more loyal to female sales representatives than male representatives. So it's sort of, we're making a little bit of the construct is building off of the condition, and the concept is building off of that. Now, how that relates to our hypothesis in this scenario, looking at an exploratory hypothesis. So that gives us basically a sort of if-then action type statement. Kind of a scenario of if we do this, then this will happen. So how those that concept and construct and concept could go into an exploratory hypothesis of an increase in female representatives will result in lower customer sales defections. Survey quality. In evaluating a survey, the results that have been delivered to you, we have to consider how good of a quality is it. You know, there's an episode of Gilmore Girls where one of the characters polls the city on how people will vote for a particular politician. Kirk is scanning to see who's gonna vote for Taylor Dosey and who's gonna vote for Jackson. And he comes in really excited and he tells the campaign people, Lorelai and Suki, that Jackson's gonna win based on his polling results. And the first thing that they ask, which is the same thing we have to ask in any kind of business scenario, is really how do you know that? How did you poll that? And while it's comical in this episode of the TV show, it's the same thing. They're asking questions about the quality, and of course Kurt explains that he used traditional polling methods and surveyed a population of 1, which was him, and he said he's going to vote for Jackson, so Jackson's going to win, which is pretty comical, because obviously we know that a sampling of 1 that's not quality. And so when we're given results, we need to start looking at quality, but we also need to consider quality goes beyond just how many people were polled. And so Beamer writes in an article on total survey error design, implementation, and evaluation. He breaks it down with a table, common dimensions of a survey quality framework. So these different dimensions are basically just kind of the different categories that you would use to look at and consider. So things we're going to consider and ask when we're given survey results would be regards to accuracy, how was this polled, how were errors addressed, credibility, who was polled, and again, how were they polled? Did you have someone standing over people telling them you need to put this answer, you need to put that answer? Were these credible people? Were these 2 or 3 Kirks? Or were these people that are knowledgeable in this area? Was it the general public? Because your credibility in some cases, you may need to poll people that are exposed and have a higher level of knowledge to get the results, that the information that you're looking for. But if you are looking to understand how does the average person perceive this, or how does the average person understand this, then if you poll someone who's got an elevated understanding about vaccinations, you're not going to get the credible results. Those people are credible, but your survey results are not credible because you're looking at people who are not the appropriate demographic that you're, not demographic, but looking at people with an elevated knowledge of vaccinations, and that's not going to tell you a true information of opinions or beliefs that the average person has. Comparability, so there you're looking at demographics and spatial, how valid are they? Is it usable and interpretable? You can get survey results that maybe look impressive because it's 20 pages of data, but if it's not, if the results cannot be interpreted so that you have useful business information, then it's not valuable to you. That's a low quality. Relevance, does it satisfy the user's needs? Again, looking at the vaccination example, if you are trying to, as a user, do you need to address the average person's concerns about vaccinations, or do you need to address the medical community, people that are being trained to advise or inform other people about vaccinations? So, if you're looking for a target of understanding the average person, then you need to make sure that your survey is relevant to that. So, and that can be in other ways. It doesn't have to just be who you're surveying. Accessibility, really that's kind of the same as usability. Can you access the information? And timeliness and punctuality. If you have a really, really good survey, but it comes in after an election is complete or a vaccination campaign has been done and the information was needed for delivering the vaccination, or the information was needed for a campaign, then by being untimely, your survey has no quality. I shouldn't say no quality, but you reduce the quality. Completeness, is it thorough? Is it covering enough? We can ask one question and completely miss other areas, so we need to make sure that our surveys are giving us complete information in regards to answering our dilemma. And then coherence, can it be reliably combined with others? If it's not coherent, then we really can't combine it with others. So those are dimensions that Beamer lists, and I think that those are pretty thorough as far as what questions we want to ask when we look at quality. And some are going to be more in-depth depending on what the survey is and what the business dilemma is, but those are the things that we want to look at and understand about the quality of the survey so that we can truly use it rather than just accepting, hey, okay, you gave me a survey, great. Failed research, inadequate information. I really love this question from chapter 3 because I feel like it kind of ties right back to the question from chapter 1. And the example we're given, this company, Oaks International, has noticed, well, they've had those sales, they've become aware of that, and they've asked a research company to study their customer relations department activities. And so the research company is going to do this. Now, if we consider quality, we can see right away why that survey may have lots of information, but is it useful? Is it going to meet the need? Is it going to answer the dilemma? The dilemma is that they have low sales, and they're making an assumption that the low sales are related to the customer relations department. So they're researching that, and they could spend a ton of money researching that information and then find that the survey and the research are not quality information because all it tells them is that the problem is not in the customer relations. They could do all kinds of polling and gathering information about the customer relations problem. But if the low sales are related to the price or the quality of the product or the sales employees, sales department, or the design of the store, the accessibility of the store, the lag time between ordering and delivery. There's just so many things that it could be that have nothing to do with the customer relations department, and so if we consider those dimensions from question 2 that we talked about with regards to a quality survey, we can see that we do have to we have to have a broader scope of consideration in different areas. And so this research project, maybe it may find the information and be great. It may find that customer relations is a small part, or it may find that it's a big part, and not shed any light on what the rest of the issue is. And so that research may or may not be valuable. It has the very high potential that the only value it provides is ruling out customer relations as the main problem.